I have stood at crash scenes more times than I can count, and almost every time, the person who got hurt the most legally.
It was the one who talked first. I want you to think about that for a second. Not the reckless driver, not the one who ran the light. The one who opened their mouth before their mind caught up to the moment. My name is Officer James Cole. I spent over 2 decades on patrol. I have responded to hundreds of crash scenes, rear ends on empty highways at 2 in the morning, intersection collisions in the middle of a workday, single-car incidents on rain-slicked roads where nobody else saw what happened. And in almost every one of those scenes, the interaction that mattered most was not the crash itself. It was the 60 seconds after the first officer reached the window. I did not want to make this video lightly, because what I am about to tell you is not comfortable for someone who wore the badge to say out loud. But I have watched too many people, good people, careful people, people who did nothing wrong, walk away from a crash scene in a worse legal position than they arrived in, not because of what the officer did, because of what they said before they even understood what was being asked.
This video is not a trick. It is not a loophole. It is a system. And once you understand it, you will never handle a crash scene.
If you subscribe to this channel, it is because you want to know what most people are never taught. This is one of those things. Stay with me. Here's what actually happens the moment a patrol unit arrives at a crash scene. You are sitting behind the wheel, your hands are shaking, your chest is tight, the adrenaline has not peaked yet, or it has already peaked and now you are crashing down from it. The patrol lights are sweeping across the interior of your car. The officer is approaching your window with a flashlight. And before you have taken 3 full breaths, the first question is already in the air. You okay? Can you tell me what happened? And here is what almost everyone does in that moment. They answer immediately, reflexively, because it feels like the right thing to do, because cooperation feels safe, because the question sounds like a welfare check, not an interrogation. I'm so sorry, I didn't see them until the last second. I think I came through too fast. It came out of nowhere. I don't even know what happened. Every one of those sentences just became part of an official record. And you said them before your mind had fully processed what the officer was actually asking, or why.
You were not lying. You were not hostile. You were just shaken. And that is exactly the problem.
There are 3 conditions that make the first 60 seconds of a crash scene dangerous. Not dangerous in the way people usually think, not confrontational, not aggressive, dangerous in a quieter way. The kind of danger that shows up weeks later in a document you never expected to see. The first condition is this: you are in shock, and you do not realize the welfare check is already a statement collection. When an officer approaches a crash scene and asks, "Can you tell me what happened?" they are trained to gather information quickly. That is their job. It is not malicious. But it means that before you have taken stock of whether you are injured, before you have understood the full sequence of events, before your hands have stopped trembling, whatever you say is going on record. The question sounds like concern. It is also documentation. The second condition is the absence of a witness to your own words. In a crash scene, there is usually no neutral third party standing next to your window listening to every word you say. It is you and the officer. If what you said and what ends up written in the report do not match perfectly, there is no one to clarify that for you. Not in that moment. The record becomes the officer's written account versus your memory, and your memory formed under adrenaline and shock is not reliable evidence. The third condition is the one most people never identify until it is too late: the confusion between cooperation and confession. Most people believe that being apologetic, being forthcoming, volunteering information, that all of this signals goodwill and will be treated as such, and sometimes it is, but I think I came through too fast is not goodwill. It is an interpretive statement made before you had the information to make it accurately. The danger is not the officer standing at your window. The danger is your own unguarded voice running ahead of your understanding in a moment where everything you say is being written down.
The danger is not the officer. It is your own voice, running faster than your mind, in the 60 seconds before you understand what is actually happening.
There is one sentence that can change all of that. One sentence that does not make you uncooperative, does not make you suspicious, does not make the encounter harder. It just slows the moment down long enough for your mind to catch up to your mouth. Before I give it to you, I want you to understand something. This phrase is not magic. It is not a legal loophole that forces anyone to stop asking questions. It does not guarantee a specific outcome. Rules vary depending on where you are and what facts exist. What it does, what it reliably does, is shift the dynamic from automatic reaction to stated intention. It turns the encounter from a moment where your adrenaline is speaking on your behalf to a moment where you are speaking for yourself. Here it is. Officer, I want to cooperate fully. I'm still shaken. Can you give me just a moment before I answer? That is it. Say it calmly. Say it the same way the officer is speaking to you. Not fast, not defensive, not trembling. Just direct and human. I know what you might be thinking. That is it? That simple? Yes. That is exactly why it works, because it does not challenge anything. It does not refuse anything. It establishes two things at once: your intention to cooperate and the physical reality that you are not yet in a state to give accurate information. Any officer who has worked crash scenes knows that adrenaline distorts memory and timing. Asking for a moment to collect yourself is not obstruction. It is accuracy, and it creates a pause, a small but important pause between the question and your answer. If the officer pushes, if they say, "I just need a quick statement while it's fresh," you have a follow-up. I want to give you accurate information. I don't want to say something wrong because I'm not thinking clearly yet. Still cooperative, still calm, still not refusing anything. Just asking for what you need to do your part correctly.
If they keep pushing, you say, "I understand. I'm not refusing anything. I just want what I tell you to be accurate. What specifically do you need right now?"
Now let me give you the architecture of how this works when the encounter moves forward, because the phrase is only the beginning. There are 3 protective actions you need to take before you say anything substantive. The first is the pause itself. Not a long pause, not a refusal, just a breath. Hands visible on the wheel, window already down. You acknowledge the officer's presence immediately, but you do not rush to fill the silence with a narrative your mind is still assembling. The pause is not passive, it is deliberate. It tells your own nervous system to slow down. The second protective action is separating the medical from the legal. If you are injured, if your neck hurts, if your head is pounding, if your hands are numb, that is what you address first. "I may be injured" is a statement about your physical state. It is not a statement about fault. It does not establish a timeline. It does not assign blame. And it keeps the officer focused on getting you the right help before trying to get information out of you. Those are 2 different functions, and they should not happen at the same time. The third protective action is the most important one to carry with you into the conversation. Once it begins, limit your statements to observable physical facts, not interpretations, not timelines assembled under adrenaline, not guesses about what happened. "I was stopped at the light" is a fact. "I felt the impact from behind" is a fact. "I think I came through too fast" is an interpretation. One you are constructing in shock with incomplete information, and one that will follow you for a long time. You are not there to narrate the accident. You are there to report what you can verify. There is a difference. It is a significant difference.
Hands visible, breath slow. Separate the medical from the legal. And speak only what you can physically verify, not what you think might have happened.
There are also 3 things that can pull this away from you before you even realize it. 3 pressure patterns that can make you abandon the phrase and start talking before you are ready. The first is urgency framing. "I just need a quick statement while it's fresh." This is a common and understandable thing for officers to say. It is also effective at making a deliberate pause feel suspicious, even when it is completely reasonable. Freshness does not require speed. Accuracy requires clarity. Those are not the same thing. When you hear urgency framing, you do not need to argue with it. You just hold your position. "I want to give you accurate information, and I'm still shaken." The second pressure pattern is the sympathy trap. The officer is calm. The officer sounds kind. They seem like they are just there to help. That casual, supportive tone, and it may be entirely genuine, can make you forget that the conversation is being documented. The warmth of the interaction does not change the nature of the record. Stay in the same calm register. Match the professionalism, not the informality. The third pattern is the one that is hardest to catch in real time, the leading question. "So you didn't see them until the last second?" You are nodding before you have even thought about it. Because your brain is still catching up and agreeing feels like the path of least resistance. Except you have just confirmed a timeline that may be inaccurate, may contradict the physical evidence, and now exists in writing. Do not answer a leading question with the same reflexive nod you would give in a normal conversation. Pause. Think about what is actually true. Then answer what you know. If this is making you see crash scenes differently, share this with someone you know who drives alone. This knowledge is free. The cost of not having it is not. Now, here is how the decision path works when the encounter moves forward, because you need to understand this before we get to the part that will protect you most. If the officer gives you a clear and specific reason for what they are asking, if they explain what information they need and why, you cooperate. You move slowly, you answer what is directly asked, you do not volunteer interpretation. You do not keep pushing back once the reason has been clearly stated. You have asked for clarity, you received it. Now you comply, calmly and completely. If the officer gives you a vague answer, routine procedure, just answer the question, don't make this difficult. You use the follow-up. I understand, officer, I am not trying to make this difficult. I am asking for the specific reason so I can cooperate correctly. You are not accusing anyone of anything. You are simply holding the position. Cooperation requires clarity, and you are willing to provide one if they provide the other. And if the officer becomes irritated, if the tone shifts, if the patience shortens, you do not mirror the emotion. You do not raise your voice. You do not debate at the scene. You repeat calm cooperation. You prioritize your physical safety, and you remember as many specific details as you can for later review if it becomes necessary. The street is not the place to win this argument. The record is. A lawful order is a lawful order. If an officer tells you to step out of the vehicle for safety reasons, you comply immediately. You move slowly and announce your movements. You do not turn physical compliance into a verbal battle. There is a time and a place for every concern, and it is not at the side of a road with patrol lights flashing behind you. Now let me tell you about the 3 mistakes that destroy everything the phrase was meant to create. These are not hypothetical. I watch every one of these happen. The first mistake is saying the right words with the wrong tone. The phrase works because it sounds like a person trying to be accurate, not a person trying to hide something. If you say, "Officer, I want to cooperate fully, I'm still shaken. Can you give me just a moment?" But you say it in a defensive voice or a combative voice, or a voice that is shaking not with shock, but with something that reads like evasion. The words become the opposite of what they were meant to be. The power of the phrase is in the delivery. Same calm register as the officer, same quiet authority. Not louder, not faster, not smaller, calm. That tone is the phrase. The words alone are not. The second mistake is moving while asking. The pause the phrase creates is physical, not just verbal. If you say, "Can I have just a moment," while simultaneously reaching for your glove compartment or opening your door, or gesturing toward the back seat, you have given away the pause before it existed. The moment requires stillness, hands on the wheel, window down, body facing forward. The phrase asks for time. Your body needs to ask for it too. The third mistake is the one that erases everything. Talking too much after the phrase. You asked for a moment, you took the moment, your mind caught up. And then, because the silence felt uncomfortable, because you felt like you needed to fill the space, you started explaining the full narrative, the sequence of events as you remember it, the other driver's behavior, your own speed, everything your adrenaline had assembled into a story that may or may not be accurate. The phrase creates a pause. The pause creates a window. Do not close the window yourself by flooding it with words. Answer what is asked, nothing more.
Say the right words. Stay still while you say them. And when the phrase creates silence, do not fill it. The silence is protecting you.
Now I want to show you 2 versions of the same 60 seconds, because this is where the system becomes real. First version, it is 11 at night. You are on a 2-lane road heading home. You were stopped at a red light. Someone hit you from behind. The impact was hard enough to snap your head back, but you are conscious, your car is drivable, and you have pulled to the shoulder. The patrol unit arrives in 4 minutes. The officer comes to your window with a flashlight sweeping the interior. Your hands are on the wheel. The window is already down. You okay? Can you tell me what happened? You do not start explaining. You do not apologize. You say, "Officer, I want to cooperate. I'm still shaken. Can I have just a moment before I answer?" The officer pauses. Officers at crash scenes encounter shock regularly. The officer may nod or take a step back or simply wait. You take 1 full breath. Then, "I was stopped at the light. I felt the impact from behind. That is it. Observable facts. No interpretation, no apology, no timeline." The encounter proceeds. You answer what you know. You do not answer what you are guessing. The record reflects what actually happened. Second version. Same type of crash, daylight this time. And before you remembered any of this, you already said it. "I think I came through too fast." The officer looks up. "So you're saying you were speeding?" Most people retract aggressively at this point. "That's not what I meant." Or "You're twisting my words. That creates a contradiction spiral. Do not do that." Instead, "I want to make sure I'm being accurate. I was shaken when I said that. What I can tell you for certain is where my vehicle was when the impact happened." You redirected. You did not argue. You anchored back to observable fact. The first statement still exists on the record, but you stopped compounding it. And immediately after the encounter, as soon as you are safely away, you write down exactly what was said by whom, in what order. That record, created while it is still fresh, is your documentation.
You may not be able to take back the first words, but you can stop adding to them. Redirect to fact. Document everything the moment it is safe to do so.
Now here is the part of this video that almost nobody talks about, and I want you to stay with me here, because this section is for everyone watching after the encounter already happened. What if it is already too late? What if you already gave the full statement? What if you already said I didn't see them, or I think it was my fault, or gave the officer a complete rushed narrative before any of this reached? What if the 60 seconds are behind you? First, do not panic. Do not try to retract what you said aggressively in the moment. Going back and saying, "Wait, I want to change my answer," does not erase the original statement. It adds a new layer of contradiction to the record. Second, stop adding. Do not keep explaining. Every additional word after the original statement is more material on the record. The most powerful thing you can do after saying too much is to say as little as possible going forward. If the officer asks additional questions, you have one tool left. I want to make sure I'm giving you accurate information. I was still shaken when I answered earlier. You are not arguing. You are not accusing anyone. You are flagging, calmly, that your earlier answers were given in shock. After the encounter, when you are safely away, write down everything, not your version of the accident. The exact words that were spoken. Who said what, in what order, what questions were asked, what you answered. Write it while it is still in memory because that window closes fast. Before you speak to any insurance adjuster, before any recorded statement, before you sign anything, consult legal help. The crash scene is one record, the insurance call is another. Each one builds on the ones before it. Protect each step separately. The first 60 seconds may already be behind you, but the rest of the record is still being written, and that means you still have more to protect than you think. I want to be clear about something before I close this out. Everything I have just told you is not about distrusting police. It is not about making a crash scene adversarial. Most officers who respond to crashes are there to help, to make sure you are physically safe, to document the scene accurately, to make sure the right information reaches the right places. That is their job, and most of them do it well. A person who asks for a moment before answering is not obstructing that process. They are participating in it more accurately. Accurate information serves everyone, the officer, the record, the insurance process, and you. A citizen who pauses, collects themselves, and then gives a clear factual account is giving the officer better information than a panicked person reciting a narrative assembled in shock. Rights awareness does not destabilize a good encounter, it clarifies it. The phrase is not a shield against the officer. It is a shield against your own adrenaline. So let me bring this home for you. The 3 conditions that make the first 60 seconds dangerous. You are in shock and do not realize you are already on record. There is no witness to your own words. And you are confusing cooperation with confession. The 3 protective actions: pause before answering, separate the medical from the legal, limit your statements to observable physical facts. The 3 pressure patterns to recognize: urgency framing, the sympathy trap, and the leading question. The 3 mistakes that erase the protection: wrong tone, moving while asking, and talking too much after the phrase. And if it is already too late, stop adding, redirect to fact, document immediately, and get legal help before any formal recorded statement. The phrase is, "Officer, I want to cooperate fully. I'm still shaken. Can you give me just a moment before I answer?" If they push, "I want to give you accurate information. I don't want to say something wrong because I'm not thinking clearly yet." If they push further, "I understand. I'm not refusing anything. I just want what I tell you to be accurate. Can you tell me specifically what you need right now?" That is the system, not a trick, not a loophole, a way to cooperate correctly.
Send this to someone who drives alone at night, or someone who freezes when police knock. This information is free. The cost of not knowing it is not.
If you have been through a crash scene and said too much before you knew any of this, write it in the comments. Write the city. Write the first question the officer asked. Those details matter because every pattern I see helps me make the next video more specific, more useful, and more protective for someone who needs it before it happens to them. I did not make this video to make you afraid of police. I made it because I stood at too many crash scenes and watched the moment go wrong in the same quiet way every time. Not with shouting, not with resistance, just with a shaken person doing what felt natural. saying what came first and not realizing until later what they had given away. The phrase is not designed to help you win an argument at the side of the road. It is designed to give you 60 seconds of control over your voice, over your record, and over the moment where panic makes most people give both of those things away without ever meaning to. Stay safe, stay calm, and know what to say before you need it.